Beef, it's what's for dinner.
Yeah, well, you remember that? Beef, it's what's for dinner. In the 90s, this commercial was everywhere, and it certainly spurred these stats. Americans bought more than $13 billion worth of ground meat last year alone. That's a whole lot of hamburgers and meatloaf and meatballs on our plates at home. Unfortunately, it's also meant a lot of sickness. Since 2018, outbreaks of food poisoning associated with raw meat have sickened at least 1,200 people, and ground meat is especially susceptible to contamination with harmful bacteria. Consumer Reports bought ground meats from all over the nation. Consumer Reports then tested 351 samples of ground beef, pork, chicken, and turkey and found salmonella in each sample of meat. The testing also found a strain of E. coli called O157H7 in a sample of ground beef. That finding triggered a government recall of 28,000 pounds of ground beef.
The strain of E. coli should not have been found in the meat, period. There is a zero tolerance policy, and for good reason. It can kill, and it is hard to treat.
It's the raw meat that's the issue, so you need to wash your hands in hot soapy water before you start prepping, then every single time you touch the raw meat, and again when you're finished. Use a dedicated cutting board just for raw meat, and never use the color or time to determine if meat is thoroughly cooked. Use a meat thermometer. You're looking for 165 degrees Fahrenheit for ground poultry, 160 degrees for ground pork and beef. And you know, you don't normally hear about E. coli issues with steak like you do with ground beef, and here's why. When you buy a steak, that one cut is from one cow, but a package of ground beef is derived from the meat from several cows mixed together. You see what he's doing here, which means one contaminated lot of meat can potentially contaminate many, many pounds of ground meat.